Hello everyone! This is a no-damage full playthrough of Castlevania 1 on the original Nintendo. A no-commentary version of this video can be found in the pinned comment in the comments section below, excuse me. So the first room over here, the only thing that's necessary to grab is going to be the whip power-ups. Sometimes, depending on what frame you whip these zombies, there may or may not be a stopwatch that drops. I just go ahead and use that just to mitigate the number of spawns, and then stop midway up the stairs, wait for that kitty to jump off. Grab the holy water, throw it ahead, and then walk forward. Basically get the cat to walk right into the holy water. At the base of the stairs there, like right before the handrail, throw another holy water. That should land behind the stairs and take out any zombies that would normally damage you on the way up. It's absolutely not necessary to fight these guys, just keep going to the right. I think fighting these guys is a lot more trouble than it's worth. If you don't feel safe doing what I did here, just go ahead and whip the bat. Waiting for the zombie to drop off. Hit the candle. Grab the invincibility. We're not going to whip any other candles. One of those candles has an axe. We don't need that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2 multiplier that is in the block there and just hit that block there with holy water repeatedly. And eventually the bat will fly into it and die. But you have to time it very carefully. Like before the sound loop finishes. If you throw the holy waters too fast, then eventually you will be caught in a position where Simon cannot throw holy waters, and the bat will be out of stun lock and he will hit you. Basically, I'm moving exactly forward enough to bait these bats into getting swung at. First Medusa head room. Medusa heads are kind of bad depending on the room, but here they're quite easy. This is just like the tutorial for Medusa heads, apparently. So I walked a little bit just to kind of line myself up. After I'd confirmed that the Medusa head flew under me, I just kept moving to the left. Over here I whip the first Medusa head, jump over the other, and if another Medusa head flies off of the side of the screen, it'll just pass under. Heading back towards this direction of the screen, the Medusa heads will start spawning again. Basically, don't jump off the platform, because if you do, then the Medusa heads will be in such a position that they can hit you the second you land on the ground. So just casually walk off the platform is the best way to handle that. For these, you have to crouch under the middle one if you're trying to take it as carefully as possible. I just kind of yellowed it. For this first bone pillar here, just stay at the top of the first flight of stairs. For the second bone pillar, you jump and you throw a holy water. The reason why it looked like I wasted a holy water there was actually very deliberate. I wanted to throw a holy water directly in front of the bone pillar so that whenever the bone pillar would spit fireballs, and sometimes the cooldown timer on its fireballs is very short, I wanted the holy water to be able to hit the fireballs, so that I would be safe whenever I would go in and start to deal DPS, because the bone pillars actually have quite a lot of HP for regular enemies. For Medusa, you just need to make sure that you have 10 hearts, and the level 3 holy water, and just like stay to the right and just keep throwing it. Or if you have level 2 holy water, just throw it slower. But as long as you have 10 hearts, it's good enough. Basically, a ×2 multiplier kind of guarantees stun lock on any enemy you find. Any enemy you fight in the game, including the final boss. The penultimate boss, no, but the final boss, yes. So this room over here, the fleamen, I just kind of whipped them. I just like walked under them, they jumped behind me, and then I whipped them as they were coming down. Bone, just like kind of... He jumped forward, and then I kind of manipulated him to jump back. The thing about these bone guys is that they actually throw no bones when they're jumping, so you can use that to your advantage. What I'm doing over here is I'm despawning these crows. Basically, if you run to the left, like, I'm kind of fumbling on this one, but you can see it took me a minute. Once he finally flew low enough to a point where I could, like, just move barely out of range, it's just being in a precise position. This game actually moves quite fast. Okay, so 1 Medusa head, 2 Medusa head, 3 Medusa head, another bone skeleton guy. Let him fucking jump forward and hit him. And with any luck, he shouldn't have thrown any bones, and the Medusa heads should just pass right under you. But I'd say that's like about the only random factor. I kind of waited a second when I saw the Rosario to jump forward, jump over it, and trigger the appearance of the bone pillar. At which point, whenever he was actually on screen, I just walked back to the left and just despawned him. Because the effect of the Rosario lasts about a few frames longer than you expect. I despawned the crows, and once again, just kind of slowly walked forward and kept spamming holy water, so that if he decided to troll me with the fireballs and start shooting them early, the holy water would catch them. I was just setting up for safety. Pretty much the first crow in every one of these rooms has to be whipped. You can despawn some of them if you, like, basically walk left on the very first frame that they move, but the timing is very difficult. Like, you'd have to react to it for it to work at all. So that we whip those, and then once again, slowly advance. Sometimes the whips even drop hearts, sub-weapon energy. If you've never played this game before, the heart gauge at the top is the number of times that you can use your sub-weapon, and currently my sub-weapon is holy water. So for this screen, I walk over the first Medusa head, and then I whip the fireballs that come out of the dude's mouth, and just keep throwing the holy water moving forward, because the Medusa heads will just spawn in such a way repeatedly that the Medusa heads will fly into your holy water as you keep using it. Over there, these mummies just kind of giving each other the Dutch rudder. I'm actually just standing on the second platform. You gotta make sure you don't whip the bottom platform, because while Turkey comes out of it, you will get hit. So, you gotta stand on top of the second stair after you trigger the start of the fight, and you're basically safe as long as you keep throwing holy water. Next section here, we just gotta get a move on, because there's a lot of randomly spawning enemies, but as long as you keep moving forward, they won't intercept you or anything like that. The bats always spawn based on your Y coordinate, so I just try to stay low and just kind of jump over them whenever they do spawn. However, a bat sometimes likes to spawn over here, in which case I just whip him, get rid of him. I have to be very careful whenever the mermen decide to fall off of the cliffs. Sometimes I have to whip behind me before I can fall down onto the platforms and move forward. So the section over here with the Flea Riders, basically I just kind of stay moving forward and just like kind of whip them as they fall down. But whenever a Flea Rider pops up behind me, then I have to turn around and I have to hit it. Fortunately, the likelihood of getting a front and a back encounter of Flea Riders at the same time is very rare, especially at different Y coordinates, so... The next room over here is kind of a gatekeeper. The second candle there has a knife, so we don't want to hit that. So what I like to do is I like to throw ahead, keep throwing ahead, until I... exactly the point that I trigger the bone pillar, or sorry, the bone snake. And whenever the bone snake comes out, as long as I'm like flush on the floor, he will always extend forward, and that basically guarantees that I will trap him the first time. The second bone pillar is a little tricky. Sometimes he does not like to play nice, and he'll just like move up and down and spit fireballs, but as long as I holy water him, and as long as he gets holy watered early, then I can just like keep spamming holy water kind of slowly and beat him. Frankenstein, yeah, no. He kind of fell before I got done talking about the bone snake, but literally all you have to do is just stand on the right block of the right platform there, the lower right platform, and just keep throwing holy waters. Just keep holding up and mashing the fuck out of the P button. What I do here is I stand under the candles, and the flea men just kind of wander into it. As soon as I saw that one skeleton there, I had to whip him, basically as soon as I saw him, because he usually like walks forward into my whip. And then the flea man just gotta go under the stairs and just go ahead and take care of him, because the real danger is the skeleton on the top floor of this board. So we're gonna climb up here and throw another holy water, manipulate that skeleton to jump into the holy water. They like to stay away from you, but you can kind of trick them into jumping into your holy water. This room is also pretty tough. Whip the red skeleton here, the bloody skeleton. What I usually try to do with the fleamen here is I try to aim for the candle when throwing the holy water, because if I do, then they usually go into it. That one did not want to cooperate. I got pretty lucky. That was like kind of my backup strat, just like throwing a holy water in midair. Over here, once again, target the candle and move backwards so that the Axe Knight will move forward into it. The Axe Knight and the skeletons have like similar AI, so you can see I'm just kind of moving backwards, baiting the Axeman into it. I don't want to hit that candle at the bottom of the stairs because that contains an axe, and there is no more holy water throughout the duration of Stage 5. Stage 5, Level 5. It says Stage 14 at the top, but it's just referring uniquely to, like, the boards. Let's give me another Axe Knight there. Once again, do the same thing. So for here, we want to go ahead and get rid of the candle. And once we whip down the fireballs, we basically just do kind of what we did earlier with the Medusa head bone pillar on Stage 4. Just kind of slowly throw holy water and advance forward. This red skeleton here is pretty trolly, actually. So I gotta wait for him to move the other way. He always seems to U-turn, like, right on top of the bone pillar. So just, like, wait him out, and you will not get hit. Over here, this is like the toughest room in the stage. I just kind of, as soon as Simon's sprite completely passes the brown pillars on the wall, I start jumping and holy watering like a bunch. But it's like specifically on the first and third pillars that I pass. And doing so, whenever an enemy is taking damage, especially from holy water, then its hitbox deactivates. And when its hitbox deactivates, then you can just walk right through it. And of course, it was still taking passive damage throughout the whole thing, so it was actually just as good as dead. For death, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen that trick like hundreds of times if you've watched like any other Castlevania video. Just stand on the far right block and just keep throwing holy water. Just jump throw, jump throw, jump throw, and he's dead. So this is a trick that I found while I was practicing this. You can despawn that first bat if you go to the left block on the lower platform, all the way to the left, and then all the way to the right. It has a slight chance of failing, but it generally works. I decided to balls it out over here and not use the stopwatch over here, which is good, because then I don't have to whip those other candles. And once I see this last bat, then I'm going to use the stopwatch and grab this 5 hearts back. I'm going to go all the way to the right. That skeleton is going to jump over. I'm going to grab the hearts. Basically, I want to farm up 15 hearts. I'm going to go down here, and then first priority, whenever we're reopening this room in order to get more hearts, we have to take out the skeleton first, because if we try to go for the hearts, then he will more than likely hit, and Simon will fly off of the right. I got kind of lucky on that lower skeleton there. I just wanted to wait for this guy to get all the way to the right. We have 11 hearts, I'm going to whip that. There's going to be a large heart in there, then stop time immediately, go down the stairs, and while we're at the bottom of the stairs, hold left, mash A, and while we're in midair, activate the timer again. Then use the timer one more time, going up the stairs, and that renders us completely impervious to the Flea Riders coming out of the left and right side of the screen. Basically, the 2 hardest rooms in the game are not a problem thanks to the stopwatch. That's like about the only time you're actually going to need the stopwatch. I farm up 20-25 hearts here, because on the off chance that I get a ×2 multiplier when I hit Dracula's fireballs, I can actually use that to stunlock Dracula's final form. But generally I do not get the ×2 multiplier, because that requires you to actually like hit the fireballs with the holy water. So over here, got the holy water, and waiting for Dracula to spawn. The spacing here takes some getting used to, but normally what I do is I pause scum here in order to have like optimal timing, because Dracula is a fucking asshole, and he loves to spawn on top of you. So there he goes. Pause, unpause. He raises his cape, then you jump and whip. Basically at pretty much the same time that he shoots out the fireballs. I should mention, by the way multipliers work is you have to keep using your holy waters, and they have to keep hitting and killing enemies. In Castlevania 1, I believe it's 8 things, any combination of 8 enemies and candles or destructible objects have to die. Die, quote-unquote. Basically have to be eliminated. At which point the 8th one will generally always be like a multiplier upgrade, and please correct me if I am wrong in the comments section. I keep pause scumming this because it's like whenever he spawns on top of me, I'm left with no choice but to guess what direction to go. And being able to pause scum basically prevents me from having to guess. And I can just like know empirically like what direction I have to move while the game is paused. Whenever he raises his wings like that, man, I kind of freaked out there. I thought I was gonna lose it, but I ran away just far enough. That's like a zoning attack, basically. Whenever he's about to move, you know, whenever he's got like his wings up like that, that's when you gotta get ready to dodge some fireballs. But otherwise, you just throw holy water and then you whip twice. But be ready to dodge fireballs generally. And you can also deactivate his hitbox and pass right through him as well whenever you are running out of space to dodge, like I did when he was like kind of towards the left side of the screen. But yeah, that's it. That's Castlevania beaten without taking a single hit. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like what you see, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Carcinogensda. If you wish to support my content, you can do so by reading the description below the video for some options to do so. I want to give out some shoutouts to Rom Scout, Turbo Dog, Cation, Comrade, and True False. Thank you guys so much. And thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all next video.